But Manchester United 0 then is how it finishes. The Gunners pick up 3 points. 13 corners Arsenal had in that game. Manchester United didn't get one, and in the end, of course, 2 goals coming from the hosts. Let's welcome in, shall we? Stewart Robson joins us as well as Frank Lebouef. Robbo, it's all about the corners for Arsenal.
It was, because the first half, as Craig said, Manchester United had quite a decent shape. They had easy possession and both sides didn't really play with any intensity. I was surprised the way Arsenal didn't really press the ball. They allowed Manchester United to keep switching it to their wing-backs, play through midfield. But again, there was no real penetration. Garnacho didn't look as though he was going to go past anybody. Mason Mount, you know, he just can't find his form at the moment. And Højlund, apart from a couple of runs, didn't pose too many threats. But in the second half, when Arsenal increased the intensity and started closing the ball down, getting the ball forward quicker, and they started winning more corners, you know, it was always going to be their game. But you have to give credit to Arsenal. The set plays are very good. Of course they are. They've got determination. As Craig said, the deliveries have to be good. But I'm looking at the defenders. You know, you want to have defenders that are going to say, throw the ball in the box, I'm going to go and win it, I'm going to go and attack it. The Manchester United defenders were standing, well, hoping it didn't come near them. It was really poor defending, a lack of determination, a lack of responsibility, and that's why they conceded, or looked like they could concede every time a ball was played in their box.
Frank, you're a defender. How would you deal with this?
As a defender, I know how to do it. My problem is the forwards coming back to defend and not doing well. Last week was Antonio I think it was on Gabriel, and today was Højlund. Just pushed a little bit by Timber and not trying to fight, and that's the problem. If forwards they come back and they're not ready to fight, it doesn't work. You have to be strong. You have to make sure nobody's going to move you. You have a choice by coaches from a zone positioning or a marking positioning. I rather give responsibility to every player, to mark every player, to know exactly what's going on and what you have to do. Today, Manchester United decided to go for a zone system. West Ham last weekend was on the marking system. Both don't work if you are not completely committed. And that's the problem. If you don't want your guy to score, your guy won't score. You don't need to look at the ball. Just look at your guy. Just block him. That's what Arsenal does offensively. It's what Timber does offensively. He made a foul last weekend. Today, again, when he touches before, he pushed Højlund. They always make blocks or make foul. That's a part of the system. Nicolas Jobert, the corner coach, knows exactly what he does. He blocks others and makes sure that somebody's going to be free. And we could see every corner. Well, we have to say that Saka and Rice are giving masterpieces in that matter. But they always have somebody free because the other they block. They make foul that the ref won't give because it's not really a foul.
I think from the game perspective, what Ruben Amorim found out that he can have a very defensively good shape in the side, but that depends on the personnel that he picked, and he picked a more defensive unit. And in terms of the shape, in the first 45, they were excellent, and Rob was right, they frustrated Arsenal. But what happened was he opened it up a little bit at half-time because Ahmad didn't start and Rashford didn't start, and when he made those changes and the game opened up, then they got picked off. Now, I know the 2 goals were from set pieces, but there was other instances of, you know, Trossard and particularly Odegaard getting on the ball and linking up with Saka. It didn't really happen in the first half. And so I think from Amorim's perspective, it's kind of where they are.
Right.
That he didn't want to open up too early. And I thought they looked good defensively, not much going forward in the first half. But when he did throw in those more attacking players, then there's a lot of work to do. And particularly against the better sides. And I think from Arsenal's perspective, they knew Liverpool had a tough game at Newcastle, away from home. The last thing they could have done tonight was slip up.
Yep.
Now, it wasn't vintage from Arsenal, I'll give you that. Not as strong as it's been in the last 2 or 3 games. But it was very professional. They got the job done. There was no Gabriel. There was no Calafiori. So that left side was a little weaker. But it worked for them. And they've closed the gap. And before the game started, that's what they were trying to do.
Go on, Frank.
Yeah, Craig and Robert, I agree with you that this first half, Manchester United, they were kind of there. But it's more due to Arsenal not pressurizing high enough on the field like they normally do. So it's for me more due to Arsenal tactic, or maybe Arteta tactic was maybe a little bit too cautious in the first half than Manchester skills and tactically were all aware. As soon as Arsenal put the second gear on in the second half, Manchester United didn't exist. That was more Arsenal cautiousness than anything else in the first half for me.
Maybe it was, I don't know, I might be wrong, but maybe it was a slightly different approach from Arsenal to protect that back four, which has been excellent, but not this personnel.
Right, because Gabriel's out, was he?
Because Kivior and Zinchenko, let's be honest, they're okay, but you can get at them.
Right.
That's a weak side of that.
Yeah,
and
true.
maybe the tactic from Arsenal was, listen, don't press too much early on and leave ourselves open at the back, because this left side is weak, and let's give them a little bit of protection. Let's bed ourselves into the game and grind Man United down, and that's kind of how it worked. I agree. Normally, when you see Arsenal play, particularly at home, they throttle the life out of teams. You can barely get out their own half, but they didn't do that today, and I wonder whether it was because that back line had changed. And there's no doubt, Kivior, but particularly Zinchenko defensively, is a weak point and a worry. That's why he doesn't start week in, week out. So maybe, just maybe, that's why Arsenal were a little bit more cautious in the first 45 minutes.
Robert, if we're seeing so much success from Arsenal at these corners, why don't more teams do it?
Well, I think there's nothing actually particularly clever about it. It's just great deliveries into the box. Arsenal's players start at the back post and they make runs to the near post. Lots of teams do that. You know, many years ago, every ball was played into the near post and you try to flick it on. It's the opposition at the moment that don't know how to cope with it, and the opposition aren't determined enough. And Frank said it, whether it's forwards. But if I'm looking at Manchester United's three centre-halves, I'm saying Maguire, who should be good in the air, should be dominant. Doesn't matter where the ball's going, I'm going to go and head it. De Ligt should be rolling his sleeves up. Come on, throw the ball in the box, I'm going to head it. Mazraoui, likewise. Højlund, likewise. But they were actually thinking, I hope it doesn't come on my head. Hope somebody else has to defend it further back or in the near post zone. There's not enough determination, and other teams have shown frailties as well. So you've got to have defenders that want to go and head the ball, and if Frank wants forwards to come back, they've got to go and head the ball as well. Absolutely they have.